Hello, America, and welcome back to the CEO Show. We're here today with Guy Vaknin. How are you, Guy?
Hey, Robert, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
And you will love what you're hearing because Guy has done something that no one else I've interviewed, and this after 1,350 interviews,
Oh,
has
wow.
done this in the restaurant business. He has a unique concept and he's created it in such a positive way. Now, I do want to say I found out about this by someone named Amber who absolutely loves your restaurants. So, talk about what your concept is and why you are the CEO and founder of City Roots Hospitality, why it's different than any other restaurant chain in America.
Um, so Cedar Roots Hospitality is a very unique business. It's all plant-based restaurants. We have an array of concepts in the city, from an American bistro to Italian, Mediterranean, Spanish, Mexican. We own 8 restaurants and we operate them. Um, the uniqueness about it starts with the fact that it's plant-based, but then it gears towards everybody. So the idea was to create uh, your same beautiful experience that you would have in a restaurant, um, and with a little factor that's a little bit different, that it's all plant-based. So.
So let's talk about that. When you have plant-based and you've created 8 different restaurants, but they're all in a sense vegan.
Yeah.
And so based on that, no one has ever done this before, but each has their own unique style.
Yeah.
What do people not know about vegan today that you want them to know?
I mean, in all reality, I think that everything is about execution at the end of the day. As someone that leads this for a while now, I had a concept in my head of what we're gonna do, how is it gonna play out in real world, where we are giving options to a community that has very limited options, and introducing basically concepts and restaurants that for the general public who is not vegan will surprise them. So, but at the end of the day, it came down to execution. The idea was to create the array, have those options so people can come. They can't eat the same thing every day, or they can't go to a different restaurant. But with our restaurant or with our group, they can go to my sushi place on a Monday. They can go to the Mexican place on Thursday, and then my fancy French place on Saturday or for the special occasion. I saw that opportunity within the market in the New York City market, and went for it on based on various models that I've played with in the past.
Yeah, so do you I'm thinking from an inventory stance, you're probably good. Are you able to balance inventory between restaurants? Because geographically, they're very close to each other.
Yeah, so my model works a little bit different. We do everything from scratch, and I have my own facility where I produce all the stuff. So whether it's the pasta, the breads, everything is done by us. So on top of the restaurant, there is
You
a
make
coffee
everything
facility.
fresh. All
Everything
your
fresh.
breads, you make
Yeah,
everything.
everything is in-house. So I don't even buy a
Wow.
burger bun from outside. Everything is made in-house. The fact that it's vegan kind of forces my hand to do it because it's better that way, and I can eliminate whatever I want to eliminate. But it also gives me an advantage because I have the IP, the product I can produce well, and by doing that for the restaurants, I have a facility that produces this for them. Uh, it's very hard because you have to build that, and that was part of the investment. But once you have it, you can do with that basically it's unlimited, right? I can control consistency. I can control how much waste they have, basically zero. I can control what level of things do I serve. Once you produce everything in one place, you have a lot more control on what's going on in the restaurant and how they do. So I do the heavy lifting for the restaurants. It also eliminated my basically 80% of my prep. So my guys come in and go to execution. They prep whatever they need to prep, the fresh ingredients on the spot and all that stuff. But the heavy lifting, the hard things, I could have done for them. It also eliminated how much square footage I needed in my restaurant. So renting the restaurants, all of that thought process was thought through before we went into the model or into the concept. So I can execute at a high level and focus only on the execution part. That differentiates us from other restaurants because we put a lot of emphasis on that.
Yeah, you are the Rockefeller of restaurants. I'll tell you why I'm saying what Rockefeller did that changed everything is in the 1870s, he built his own pipeline. And by
Okay.
owning the whole supply chain, he controlled all the outcomes. And that's what grew his wealth geometrically. You're, in a sense, doing the whole thing the same way. You're controlling your destiny.
I will tell you something else that might make you think that I'm a little bit crazy, but during COVID and building the rest of the restaurants, I couldn't find somebody to build the restaurants. So I also built a construction company. So I build my own restaurants as well, which took shaved off probably 50% of all the investment expenses. That team today does all my maintenance, and I train them. I sent them to courses to do refrigeration and AC, so they help with all those things as well. But they have built the last six restaurants in the past 5 years. So, yeah.
Do they do work outside? Do they do a dish? Is it like a
Right
construction
now,
company or not yet?
yeah. So right now I reduced the size of it because we're not building anymore. I took a step back because I wanna organize. We grew very rapidly. We grew 1,500% since 2020, which is
Wait, say that again? You grew how
15
much?
1,500%.
Wow, you're
Oh,
smiling. I know we're
yeah.
on the radio, but he guy is smiling there, and anyone who's growing 1,500% is
I mean, we took
smiling.
a hit. We took a hit. Basically went from 125 employees when I went into COVID, went to 6 employees. I had to rebuild this company. Today we're over 250. I had to rebuild the company from scratch, which was a pivotal moment for me. But that's where the growth happened, right? And you still have to build it. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So building the restaurants all within, having the access to do all those things from within, understanding the majority of it, not all of it, but understanding the majority of the processes was the most important thing for me. Yeah, and that gave me a lot of leverage, you know.
I love the way you think. Where do you go to learn and to come up with ideas and figure out how to execute like this?
Um, I think that this is very fundamental for a lot of entrepreneurs, whether you're successful or not. The 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 will and the want to learn is something that has been embedded in me since I was a kid by my mom, making sure that I grew up single mom, so I had a lot of time in the 80s. There was no screens, no nothing. 90s. Learning was my pass away time, right? I would learn how to do everything. And I think that it's very important not to be scared and really do the due diligence and put the time in and learn how to do certain things. You don't have to do everything, but it goes back to that model that I talked to you or I wrote to you about the five finger. Uh,
I was just about to ask. I was going to say we have about 90 seconds left before our commercial break. Talk about that five-finger model. I love this.
five finger model. Basically, I mean, it's a model that I also learned in the army when I was in a different aspect, but I apply it in my day to day. You have to touch things. You can't be scared of getting your hands dirty. You have to touch things with all fingers to understand where the infrastructure has holes in it, so you can fix those holes. So you can organize it in a way that will better it. Now you don't have to do 100% of it. You can do 80%, 70%, understand 70%, and put the right people in the places to do the rest of it. But you have to touch it. And entrepreneurs or owners or leaders that are scared of doing the things will not be able to improve their systems and move forward. That's my belief. Yeah, it's not fun a lot of times, but where do you learn when it's not fun, when it's hard, when, when you're struggling? So,
And on that note, what is the website for anyone who wants to learn about your different restaurants?
so cityrootsnyc.com is our hospitality. It has the list of everything. We do a lot of things on social media, and it's an outlet for me to get out to people. So following me on chefguivaknin.com or following me on my handle on Instagram, you will know everything and anything about our company.
Okay, we're taking a break now. When we come
Sure.
back, we're going to find out from Guy what was a key transformative moment. Maybe he'll even give us two. Stay tuned. Hi, this is Robert Reese back on the CEO Show, where we interview the CEOs who have reinvented the fabric of America. We're here speaking with Guy, who is the founder and CEO of City Roots Hospitality. I'm telling you, I've interviewed like 1,350 of the top CEOs. It's a genius guy who could learn. You're getting a PhD in entrepreneurship. Own your supply chain. If you want to build um, build your own construction company to build your own restaurants. The more that you own, the more you control your destiny. So let's talk about transformative moments. And there was one time where you weren't able to control your destiny, which was COVID.
Yeah.
What was your response to that?
I mean, I think uncertainty for an entrepreneur is the worst and hardest thing to overcome. But accepting it and accepting that anything can happen is the other tool that as an entrepreneur you have to use. So knowing that I can't control it, but knowing what I can control helped me. COVID COVID was a big deal because it reset everything and it allowed me to get out of the grind and sit for a second and think about what the future is going to hold. On the contrary of everybody thinking that we're only going to eat to-go food and order deliveries, I made a pivot in the company. We used to have seven Beyond Sushis before the pandemic. And that was my brand. And the idea was to grow those. And they were like a grab and go office food. But I knew that office is not coming back. But I also knew that I wanted to sit in a restaurant and I wanted to socialize and I wanted to communicate. So in the middle of COVID, I took a bet and I opened a restaurant in October 2020 in the middle when there was no people outside. There was a lot of opportunity because a lot of people went out of business. I opened a restaurant and I believe that people will come and would like to sit down eventually. And that paid off because 6 months later, I signed for another one. And then a year later, I signed for another one. And a year later, I signed for another one. It was a pivotal moment because I could plan or at least build an infrastructure in my head of what the future is going to look like. I even put it down on paper, went back to see it a few months ago, and not exactly, but for the most part, it happened like I planned it. And I think that was a moment where everything changed in my mind. The game slowed down, and I could build this idea or framework of how everything is going to work on going forward.
That is a brilliant pivot. Think about all you hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs, CEOs listening in. You could be going down one route, everyone else does. You've seven restaurants, just expand more. Something happens, and what do you do? That's like what Vanderbilt did. He had all the ships. And in the 1860s, he got rid of all of his ships and moved to railroads. And that's how he grew dramatically, just like you're doing, Guy. Let's talk one more thing, though. You were Shark Tank. You were on Shark Tank and
Yeah.
you got the biggest gift, but tell what you did with that. You said no. What's the
Yeah.
story?
So I went on Shark Tank 2018, went down there to expand the Beyond Sushi project that we had before COVID. And the idea was to multiply that and take it to the West Coast, to open in LA where there's a big health community, plant-based community. And I got the deal. We came out of the deal. We did due diligence for about 7 months. Cost me a lot of money. But it also was a learning process. I learned what I do want and what I don't want. And I didn't want to give up the ability to own my own destiny and own my own business. I think that today I don't have a board. If I need to pivot, I pivot. If I think that something needs to be addressed, it gets addressed. Um, there is a downside and an upside to it. The upside for me is the control, the ability to pivot quick, to take to make the decision that I made in COVID. If I had a board that was tied to a certain thing, it wouldn't have happened. So I dropped the $1.5 million that they offered me. I said, thank you very much, but no thank you. And I continued on my own path. Which in retrospect saved me, saved the company.
Well, what was the result financially?
Financially, we're three times the size that we were when I went on Shark Tank. So,
Wow. So that was a
yeah,
good move.
yeah. You can argue that you don't know what would have happened if, but from the other companies that they were invested in the industry that I am in, most of them closed in COVID. So, you know.
Well, I commend you this on truly controlling your destiny. So what's the future now? I mean, you have so many models. You could take this geographically and franchise in four other major cities,
Yeah.
but I don't know that you would trust others to get your model right. I mean, so what are you going to do now?
I um I think that every business has a platform that introduces other that you can do other things with. I think we're in a pivotal moment in history and in time, and you have to be uh, attuned to what's going on. One of the things that I'm really interested in, I told you learning is a big process for me, is AI and how do we incorporate that into our businesses and how do we use it to better what we do already. And I have been at it, studying, building my own apps, creating things that will help our company, and even thinking of bigger infrastructure in terms of service infrastructure and what can I do to improve what we do now and in general for the industry. Now, I took a step back because I want to make sure that our systems and our company is built for the new age. I'm not opening restaurants this year. It doesn't mean that next year I won't. I still have to do my next 5 year plan. But for now, this year is dedicated to strengthening the systems, bringing us, up to speed on everything that is happening. It's changing so quickly. You have to keep up with it. But it's really cool. It's really cool. It's really exciting. I have a sort of excitement that I haven't had in years because I can take the processes that we used to take us forever and build an app, special app just for that, and create all these really cool things that could move the company forward. Um, and yeah, and after that year, we'll see where the expansion goes. We'll see what the situation. New York is not an easy market. We'll see if we go to other markets. There is a lot of thoughts, but first you got to have a strong company operating sales, all that stuff. The numbers drive everything. So once I'm done with that, we'll move on.
Based on that, final question, Guy, what is your advice to entrepreneurs?
We can speak about that for about 7 hours, but I think that you need to know if that's the type of life that you want. There's no discounts when it comes to this lifestyle. You have to put in the work. It doesn't matter what level you are. You're the CEO of Chase, JP Morgan, or you're the CEO of SpaceX, or you're the CEO of just a cafe. You'll have to put the work, the thought process in no matter what. As soon as Elon stepped to do whatever he did in the government, his company was hurting. The CEO is there to push the company forward, or the entrepreneur is there to push the company forward. You cannot lift your legs off the gas pedal, and you have to do it at all times, you know.
And there you have it, everyone. Go to City Roots Hospitality NYC.com. Guy,
CityRootsNYC.com. Without the hospitality, that's where it is.
oh, that's even better. You leave the hospitality until people come to the restaurants.
That's right.
Well done. Great having you on the show, Guy. Congratulations on
Thank you,
what you've
Robert.
accomplished.
Thank you for having me.